Story County, helping build Nevada's future.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, Tom Weller joins us. He's the Dean of the College of Engineering at UNR. It's a fascinating topic. He's here for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Hear ye! All hail the $75,000 Cash is King giveaways at Tamarack Casino. Rule the kingdom with cash giveaways every Thursday and Saturday. And live royally with up to $10,000 in winnings every week. Eat, play, win! Your good times are at Tamarack Casino.
Welcome to Story County, where history meets innovation, and a pioneering spirit continues to shape our future. At the heart of the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, we power the future with global leaders in technology and manufacturing, driving progress that reaches far beyond our county lines. From advanced manufacturing to tech innovation, our industries are creating thousands of quality careers, fueling a vibrant economy that benefits every Nevadan. But it's more than just growth. Our community is our foundation, supporting families, empowering local initiatives, and creating a place where everyone belongs. Be part of a legacy built on bold ideas and boundless possibilities. Join us in building a brighter future right here in Story County. Story County, helping build Nevada's future.
2025 is bringing big changes for Nevada businesses. If you have more than 5 employees and have been operating for 3 years or more, you must now comply with new state retirement plan mandates. The Vegas Chamber 401k plan makes it easy, offering a proven, customizable, and cost-effective plan for employers and employees to save with tax advantages. Visit vegaschamber.com to explore options and see how the Vegas Chamber can help you start saving for your future.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're pleased to welcome to the program for the first time Tom Weller. He is the Dean of the College of Engineering at UNR. Pleasure to have you here, sir.
It's great to be here, Sam. Thanks.
When people think of engineers, they think of all kinds of things. How do you define engineers?
Well, there's many different kinds of engineers. I could maybe describe some of the different things that engineers do by looking at, for example, a major engineering project like building a rocket ship or something like that. And I could kind of quickly take you through from concept to actually having that rocket that's ready to go to the launch pad. And talking about rockets is a good thing to do here in Nevada. So it starts with an idea or a concept. Somebody says, for example, we need a rocket to take a certain kind of supply up to the International Space Station. And that is what people refer to as a functional requirement, to be technical. And that idea can come from lots of different types of people or organizations. But once someone decides what that rocket needs to do, then that's when the engineers step in. And usually it's the most senior engineers who figure out, how do we take that requirement for what this rocket needs to do and convert that into specifications for each of the subsystems that are needed to make that rocket work. So you have a subsystem that is the propulsion team. And then you have the communications team, because you're sending lots of data back and forth as these rockets launch. And then you have the thermal management people, because it's a very extreme environment, so you have to protect the sensitive parts of the rocket during its flight. And there's probably a dozen other subsystems that all need to work perfectly for this rocket to work, and the systems engineers are figuring out all of those specifications for these subsystems. And then you go to a completely different type of engineer, which are the design engineers. And they take those specifications from the systems engineers, and then they need to figure out all the parts and the components and what they need to do so that the subsystem works, right? So the propulsion team will think about, for example, well, how do we store the fuel that the rocket's going to need? And then another group of design engineers will look at the combustion chamber. And then another team will look at, well, okay, after the combustion creates exhaust, how do we direct that to create thrust and lift the rocket? And so this is happening all over this very complicated set of subsystems. And that's just the design part of it. And then there's a whole nother type of engineer that figures out how to build all of those things. And then you have to assemble them. And then lots and lots of testing that has to go into this. And that's a whole different type of engineer that does the testing. And then finally, you have computer scientists who are writing the software that actually control all of these things and make sure it works correctly. So
do they come under the heading of engineers as well?
Well, there's engineering teams that have computer scientists, and then many of them are actually called software engineers. And their whole job is to create software to control these systems.
All right, so let me ask you this then. What areas does the College of Engineering at UNR specialize in? Who are you training?
That is a great question. So
that's what I'm paid for.
Okay, well, thinking about the aerospace industry, which that example that I was using there, oftentimes people associate aerospace industry with aerospace engineers. And we've just recently started a brand new aerospace engineering program, which we were able to do because of a large gift from the George Guillemot Foundation. But there's many other kinds of engineers, and we're training electrical engineers and mechanical engineers and chemical engineers and material scientists, and all different kinds of engineers are actually used in the aerospace industry, and we're training many of those different disciplines here in town.
So we've got spread across the state from Apex down in southern Nevada to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, all different kinds of companies that are coming in, and including the big names like Tesla, for example. Mm-hmm. Are these companies coming to you and saying, okay, these are the kind of engineers we're going to be needing over the next X amount of years? Can you put together programs that will help us get the people we need?
Yes, that is definitely happening, and it's actually happening in both directions. It's companies coming directly to the university. Sometimes companies are working through EDAWN, and then EDAWN works with the college to make those connections. And then oftentimes we are reaching out to industry through our industry advisory boards. And for example, we've just started a brand new industrial engineering program in our college. And that was driven by companies like Tesla and Panasonic, who essentially are importing industrial engineers into Nevada right now because there aren't any degree programs in that area, or there weren't. Now we have one.
Okay, so how great is the need, and where are you getting the students from? Are they coming from in-state or out of state?
So,
and out of country, by the way.
Yeah, let me start with the need, because that is actually a significant concern, I think, not just for the engineering profession, but I think for our economy and our national security. And one example that is pretty well known is in the semiconductor industry, and this is where all the chips are made that power all of our robotics and cars and phones and everything. That industry is projecting that in 4 to 5 years, there will be over 1 million jobs, technical jobs, that are unfilled because there aren't enough people to fill those jobs. And if you look just in the United States, 25,000 engineering jobs are expected to be unfilled because there aren't enough engineers and computer scientists. And you might ask, well, is that a significant number? What does that actually mean? Well, right now in the U.S., the entire semiconductor industry only hires 1,500 engineers a year. So to have 25,000 jobs unfilled is a really big deal. And that's happening in many industries. It's the same in aerospace and defense, civil infrastructure, renewable energy, kind of across the board. We don't have enough engineers being trained today in the U.S. So where are we getting our engineers? We get many of them do come from Nevada. I think approximately a third of our students are coming from Washoe County, and the other 2/3 are coming approximately from Clark County, although we do draw students from California and from other neighboring states as well. But it's a concern, and increasing our enrollment is a major initiative for our college and for the university.
Well, I mean, you just look at it, it's, if I'm getting the letters right, in the right order, TMSC is the Taiwanese company that makes the chips.
TSMC, yes.
TSMC.
Yep.
So they are building these huge factories in the United States. They are going to need, I'm guessing, thousands of engineers by the time they're done with their projects. We're seeing this interesting situation with the construction industry where they need more and more people to be working in the construction industry. They're pitching, you don't need to go to college to get a degree to make money. You can come in and do a training program. I'm presuming that the engineering schools are going to need to do something similar to get kids to understand that this is going to be a very high-paying job, and it's going to be around for a long time. This is not something that's going to go away anytime soon.
Correct. And so I think there's a couple of main ways that we as academia and the engineering colleges in the country are trying to approach this workforce shortage. And one is teaming up with other institutions on our training programs so that we can leverage what's being done at other universities and have the state-of-the-art training and skills development in students that the industry really needs. And so we just recently, it was announced, I think last week, that we're part of a large consortium that's led by Boise State, and it's all focused on training more engineers in the semiconductor industry. And there's other collaborations that we're doing with other universities that are really aligned in the same direction. And so part of that is just, as you said, educating students about the opportunities. And another thing we're very excited about this summer is the launch of what we're calling the Nevada Summer Engineering Academy. So we'll be bringing in students who have just completed 1 year in the college and giving them a week-long experience working in a clean room and getting to understand what it's like, to work in the semiconductor industry. So we're basically doing everything that we can to raise awareness of these opportunities and really of the importance of increasing the number of graduates in this area. But the other thing is revolves around this idea of upskilling. So a lot of times people, for financial reasons or interest reasons, they will begin their career in a technician position and then decide later on, I'd really like to get an engineering degree. And so creating flexible pathways and opportunities for students to come back, and maybe it's just getting a certificate, but sometimes it's actually getting a degree and then being able to go back into the industry as an engineer.
One of the things that would concern me would be that, we can't continue to grow in Nevada if we don't have the engineers that we need for all these other businesses that want to come here.
Well, you are definitely reading from my playbook because that's a major concern for me as well. And I think if you look across the country, you can see that, a great college of engineering that is producing great computer scientists and engineers is one of the most important ways to attract and retain technology companies to a region. And these are the companies that are not only creating high wage jobs, but each one of those jobs has a multiplier in the community. And so one job in the semiconductor industry, for example, can create 6 indirect jobs, the companies that are providing services and so forth.
It just seems that at this point in time, with the negative side of war is obvious, but the positive side of war is that we have used all these munitions, we've used all these weapon systems. Now, not only do we need to replace a lot of that equipment that's been used, but we also need to create the next generations, and I say generations, of military hardware. And when you consider that this is $1 trillion budget, and that's just the regular budget, not including the black budget, that we need a lot of engineers.
We do, and I've been around long enough to see a couple of similar situations in time. For example, if you look back into the late 80s, when the Berlin Wall came down and the Cold War essentially ended, and that military-industrial complex was sort of sitting around, well, what do we do with all this capacity? And it took a couple of years, and then all of a sudden they discovered wireless communications, and for about 10 years, there was an incredible boom hiring engineers into the wireless communications industry. The same thing happened around the turn of the century with fiber optics and the internet. And so you sort of...
By the way, when you say turn of the century, I'm old enough to think you were talking about the 1800s to the 1900s. Apparently not.
Well, I had to make sure I was using the right words there when I said that, for sure. But the same thing happened then, where technology was really moving very quickly, and then it spawned all these new industries, and now we're actually using those things that were advanced at that time to speed up the data centers that are being built around the country for AI. So it is true that world events and those types of things tend to create intense activity in a particular area. But as far as engineering goes, there's so many commercial uses of everything that's developed for military and defense that, as you said, it's really training the engineers and the scientists so that we have that workforce when we need it.
Yes, well, and I think the need is like 5 minutes from now, if not 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, no, like I said, when I think about trying to increase our output by a factor of 5 to 10 in the next 5 years, that is a very daunting problem. So
that's a huge goal.
That's a huge goal.
All right, let's take a break. We'll come back more on this topic after this timeout.
Meet Nevada Health Link, Nevada's official health insurance marketplace. Your link to savings, selection, free assistance, and name brand health insurance, where 90% of enrollees lower the cost of their monthly premium. Everyone deserves access to quality health coverage, no matter your income or family size. Visit NevadaHealthLink.com. A few minutes could save you hundreds of dollars per month.
Nevada Health Link. Our plans are made for your plans.
The trucking industry is the most resilient link in the supply chain, moving 95% of our freight in the Silver State. And while essential, the road isn't always smooth. Supply chain disruptions, rising fuel costs, and unrealistic rules and laws that hamper our ability to serve our customers and country. Our prosperity and every sector of the economy, manufacturing, mining, medicine, and food from farm to table, is tied to trucks. There's nothing without trucking.
Like a traditional handmade basket, retail is woven into the fabric of life in Nevada. From big box to mom and pop, retail supports our communities in countless ways. Jobs for the disabled, team uniforms for kids, help for the elderly, and so much more. Retail employs over 1 in 10 workers. Retail supports Nevada, and we support retail.
RANNV.org.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Tom Weller. He's the Dean of College of Engineering at UNR. You're looking at doing a reorganization of the college. What needs to be reorganized?
Well, one of the things that I see happening in the not so distant future in engineering is increasingly becoming a more not just multidisciplinary but interdisciplinary profession. And one of the things it's really going to change the way that engineers work and the type of work that engineers do is artificial intelligence. And so one of the reasons that we are reorganizing the college is to bring together disciplines, and what one person I talked to referred to as creating human friction, like really getting people together in the same room and thinking about new ways to do things. And right now, the impact of artificial intelligence on all education, but especially in engineering education, I think, is it's really forcing us and giving us opportunities, but it's also kind of a mandate to look very closely at how we do things and to think about how do we train and educate engineers better in the future.
Okay, so let me jump in here.
Sure.
So a couple of examples of my concerns with AI, where it sits today. And I know it's going to change rapidly over the coming years. But I've been around for a long time in broadcasting. So I can go online and search myself using AI and see what the information says about me or my program. A lot of times stuff is incorrect. I correct it as best I can, but it's interesting that it's incorrect. And that's just a simple level of stuff that is being made up. And it's funny when the AI comes back and says, oh yes, you're right, sorry about that.
Yeah.
The other instance is a family member went and had a medical test, and it was a scan. The doctor called 5 minutes after the scan and said, is this person okay? And I said, well, what do you think? I think they may be having the same issue again right now. Well, it turned out that the initial exam was looked at by AI, not a radiologist. And what the AI had discovered was exactly the same problem that occurred a couple of years ago, but it was showing up as something that was occurring now. So my concern about AI at this point in time is we are way, way away from being perfect. And that concerns me, not just on a personal level, but when, going back to your spaceship analogy.
Yep. Well, I agree.
I mean, you're operating on a much higher level than I am, but I'm just giving you from the ground level.
Yeah. Well, so let me approach it from
By the way, I got about
a
a minute for you.
Okay. So a slightly different perspective is if you think about how computers and computer software and the World Wide Web, these tools have really been the fuel that the engineering profession has been running on for the past 3 decades, and it's exponentially changed how quickly and how well technology is developed. And AI is it's another tool, and it is going to allow us to look at things in a much broader perspective than we've ever looked before. But, there are a lot of challenges with cybersecurity, and the World Wide Web has created a lot of those challenges, but it's also created a whole discipline of trying to combat those things. So I'm confident that the types of issues that you're thinking about in AI and that are real, they will be addressed.
All right, let's take another break. We'll be right back.
A power line is more than a power line. It's maintaining the bottom line for small businesses. It's keeping the assembly line moving for our workforce. For our brightest minds, it's meeting a deadline. It's on the front line with our heroes. And on the sidelines of the biggest games. It's a direct line to our loved ones. And it's a lifeline for the most vulnerable. There's a lot on the line.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
The Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years. Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
We're the Peters family, 2 combat veterans, our daughter Elle, and our Liberty Dogs puppy in training, Cooper.
Cooper will grow up to be a life-changing companion to a veteran with visible or invisible challenges.
We're helping Cooper build focus and confidence so he's ready to support his veteran.
And we know he will help bring happiness and independence to his veteran's life.
So join us, become a puppy raiser, and change lives, one puppy at a time.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Tom Weller. He's the Dean of the College of Engineering at UNR. We're out of time for today, but will you come back and tell us about the reorganization and what the conversations are? Because I'm sure they're going to be fascinating.
I would be very happy to come back and visit with you again, Sam. Thanks.
Okay, thank you for being here. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back.
Stack up the wins during Carson Valley Inn's Summer Toys and Big Cash giveaways. Cash drops every Thursday and Saturday with over 450 winners. Plus, win a new side-by-side or $12,000 in cash at each event. Free wheels, free play, and bigger thrills. Only at Carson Valley Inn.
At Nevada Urban Indians in Reno, your health is our priority. Our medical clinic welcomes everyone. We accept all insurances, ensuring quality care is within reach. Nevada Urban Indians, your partners in health.
Imagine a magical garden that feeds Carson City's hungry and homeless, teaches our high school students agriculture, creates hanging floral displays to beautify downtown, and yet charges nothing. It's not magic. It's the Greenhouse Project. It's real, it's growing, and it needs your help. Go online to carsоncitygreenhouse.org so together we can grow it forward.
Each day, the Children's Advocacy Alliance partners with leaders, legislators, and families across Nevada to improve children's health, education, economic well-being, and safety. We recognize Nevada will be no better than the state of its children. Be a part of this change. Be a supporter of the Children's Advocacy Alliance. For more information, go to caanv.org.
It happens. And when it does, there's UMC Quick Care.
Nevada Newsmakers is available as a podcast. It's also available on YouTube anytime you want to watch or listen. Thanks for watching Nevada Newsmakers.